Hello, everyone, and welcome to podcast episode number 35, where I had the pleasure to sit down and chat with Jordan Syatt. He is one of the bigger names in the fitness industry, as far as I'm concerned. He is amassed over millions of followers all across his platforms. He knows his stuff. We had a great chat. We talked about the disinformation that is currently on the internet about just health overall in general, but with regards to nutrition, dieting, exercise. We also talk about how important it is to have a healthy relationship with food. There's nothing you should restrict yourself of, pretty much, is the bottom line. You should be able to eat whatever you want, whenever you want, but of course, moderation is key. And he also reveals his favorite exercise and favorite food that he likes to indulge in. So take a listen, leave in the comments what you guys think, let me know, and I hope you enjoy it. Till next time. All right. Welcome to the show, Jordan. Thanks for being here. It's a pleasure.
My pleasure, man. Thank you so much. I'm excited.
Yeah, I've been waiting almost 8 months since we scheduled this podcast interview.
Wow.
I know you've been very busy. The way I found you is through a friend. I started following you. Then you posted something where if you have a podcast, let me know. I'll be a guest on it. I don't care if you have 1 follower or you have 1 million followers. I'm going to be a guest on the show. So I decided, let me see if he's telling the truth. So actually, persistent, I guess, replied back and said, yep, he's telling the truth. But I got July of 2022. I said, okay, it's September of 2021, but I'll take it.
Yeah, man. I think even now, I think it's like we're booked a year and a half out at this point.
Jeez. So how many have you done so far, podcasting wise, in terms of being a guest?
Thousands.
Wow.
Like I do usually do about between like 2 to 4 a day every day.
Wow.
So yeah,
wow.
and I've been doing it for years. So
yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So what I want to do is I want to talk to you, obviously, like I said, the reason why I'd like to have you on is because you spit facts when you talk about exercise and nutrition. You don't sugarcoat anything. You don't overcomplicate anything. And I feel that this day and age, the fitness industry has become overcomplicated and becoming overwhelming for beginners. And where to start? What do I do? This person's telling me this. This YouTuber is telling me this. This Instagram influencer is telling me this. Completely different, wide range, all over the map. But before we get into any of that, can you just kind of briefly discuss how you got started in this fitness industry? Meaning, like, you woke up one day, you said, fitness is going to be my life. This is going to be my career. This is what I'm going to focus and dedicate my whole life to. How did you get started?
Yeah, so it's it happened very naturally, and when I was really young. So I started wrestling when I was 8 years old. I'm super short. I'm 5'4", and I come from a very short family. And my mom wanted my brother and I to be able to defend ourselves. So I remember I was 8 years old, and I was sitting in the living room on the couch, and she walks in one day, and she's like, "I'm going to put you and your brother in wrestling." And the only wrestling that I knew at that point in my life was WWF style wrestling.
Right.
So I remember being like, I remember looking at her, I was like, "You want me to hit someone with a chair?" She was like, "No, you idiot," like Olympic style wrestling, which I had no idea what that was, but she put me in it and I fell in love with it. Like, I got obsessed with it. It's all I thought about. Like, and I was very good at it. And I ended up making varsity as a freshman in high school when I got to high school. And I beat a junior out for the varsity spot. And I was good from a technique perspective and an endurance perspective. But as a freshman, I was 14 years old, going up against mainly juniors and seniors who were 16, 17, 18 years old. So the strength differential was pretty big there. And so I remember I applied to a gym a couple towns over from me. We grew up outside Boston, Massachusetts. And I was like, "Listen, I'll take the trash out. I'll clean the floors. I just want to learn from you about how to get stronger and how to strength train." And I was very lucky because number one, they accepted, they took me under their wing. And also I was lucky because they were super science-based. Like, they were a very science-based gym. And that was not common. It's not even common now. Never mind.
What do you mean? What do you mean by science-based?
They were not like the typical gym where it's like they go off the bodybuilding magazines. They're like not spewing nonsense. Like, they were actually subscribed to some amazing research reviews. They introduced me to science-based training, to like high level strength and conditioning that most people don't learn about unless they're in this industry for 10, 15, 20 years. So from 14 years old, I'm interning at this facility that is like, they're super intelligent. They do a lot of research. They're not basing their stuff off of, like, I don't know, Muscle and Fitness magazine or like what, like they're very well educated. And so from 14 years old, I was thrust into that end of the industry, and I was lucky I didn't waste my time on the bodybuilding magazines. I didn't go to all like the clickbait nonsense that was online back then. It was just like, I know what I need to do from a very young age. And I became obsessed with strength training and coaching. And that's what I've been doing since 14. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
And so how have you learned, and who did you learn from up until this point? Was there someone that you just kind of follow, or was it just a collective type of thing that you gathered and said, this is the right way and this is the wrong way?
So many people. I mean, the first two coaches were Stacy Shadler and Kevin McCarthy were the two coaches that were working at that gym, and they introduced me to Eric Cressy and Dan John and Mike Boyle and Joel Jameson and Mike Robertson. They introduced me to all of these, like the best of the best of the best coaches in the world, for especially for athletics. They introduced me to Pavel Tsatsouline and Louis Simmons. Like, they introduced me to all these people, and then I ended up interning with Eric Cressy, and I mean, he's got at least one baseball player from every single team in the Major League Baseball organization training at his gym. He's also the head strength and conditioning coach for the Yankees. I interned with Louis Simmons at Westside Barbell. May he rest in peace. Like, when I interned there, he had the strongest gym in the world, literally the strongest gym ever. Their weakest guy squatted 800 pounds. That was their chump lifter. So I interned with him. I've interacted with and studied from all of these people, men and women, like these behemoths, these titans of the strength and conditioning world. I've been very fortunate to have many of them be my mentors and that I've learned and studied under.
Was there anything that you learned and then you later found out this is not the right thing to do?
A million things. A million things. Yeah. I mean, that list, the list of mistakes that I've made could fill up 10 full libraries.
Right.
The list of things I've done right might fit in one book, right? It's like the mistakes I've made far outweigh the successes that I've had and the things I've done properly. But you learn from your mistakes, you learn from your errors. So yeah, I mean, I've made, where do I begin? Like, yeah, absolutely.
Well, because I see some of your obviously some of your posts, and when it comes to exercising, there have been, I love the post that you put out about burpees and how they're pretty much useless.
Yeah.
But burpees was like 10 years ago was the thing. Like, everybody had to do burpees if you wanted a quote unquote strong core, right? I never liked burpees. I didn't understand the point. I just thought it was just a cardio thing. You're just jumping up and down. You're not really muscle building per se. Like, it just seemed a little pointless, but I did it because my trainer at the time told me to do it. Right? Stuff like that.
Yep.
Like, how did it get there? Meaning, you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, you look at like Jane Fonda's, you look at people like that in the past, they were all either strong or lean, in good shape, good body. What changed all of a sudden, and when, why, how did it change to, okay, you got to do this on a physio ball and lift the weights on the physio ball while you're off balance, and you got to do burpees on a superset? How did that all come about?
Yeah, it's interesting. So starting with burpees, I make fun of burpees all the time, and people get really mad, dude. I've gotten some hate mail for hating on burpees. And now, even though I hate on them, I still think there are some instances in which it might make sense to program. For example, I think for the vast majority of people, it's a waste of time, right? And when I'm talking about the vast majority of people, I'm not talking even about high level athletes. I'm talking about people who just want to be healthier and who want to work out and like live a healthy, happy life. For the vast majority of them, burpees is a waste of fucking time, period. End of story. Now, there are instances, for example, let's say I have a single mother working from home. She doesn't have enough money to buy any cardio equipment or any equipment really. And she works out at home, and she's got a couple of kids, and she doesn't have the ability to just like leave the house and go on a run. Like, yeah, if she needs to get her cardio in, I will include burpees because that makes sense for her. That's not the majority of people. The majority of people, like especially people who are actively going out of their way to exercise, they're going to the gym, they're paying for a trainer. If you're going to the gym and doing burpees, that's a fucking waste of a gym membership and a waste of your time. Burpees don't, like, if you're using it from a cardio perspective, it makes sense, but there are so many better options. Like, I would rather you use a treadmill or a bike or something in which you can actually gauge progress. On a bike, you can gauge how many watts you're producing over how much time. You can compare it to your heart rate. You can get real data that measures how much progress you're making. You can't really see that with a burpee, not nearly as much. And so, for the vast majority of people, get on the elliptical, get on a rower, go swimming, go running, whatever, do something outside, like get out. I don't know, do something other than burpees. And I shit on them and I hate them and whatever. But for some people, it makes sense. For the most people, if your coach is having you do burpees, you're paying the wrong coach. You
Right.
need to get a new coach. We have to remember that a lot of the reason people will do burpees is because they think they need to do it in order to lose weight. That's why they're doing it. They
Right.
think that the reason they need to do it is because they need to jack their heart rate up and sweat a lot to lose weight. Exercise is not done for weight loss. Exercise is done for health, for your performance, to get you stronger, to build more muscle, to improve your performance, to reduce pain somewhere, improve your mobility. You use exercise for your health and your body. You use nutrition for fat loss. And if you think doing, I don't know, 100 burpees a couple times a week is going to help you lose fat, you're out of your fucking mind. Like, it's not going to do anything. Nutrition is really the driver of sustainable fat loss.
Right.
So if you've only got 3 times a week, 45 minutes a session in the gym, and you're spending any of that time doing burpees, your shit's broken. You should be getting stronger, building more muscle, and then in your off time doing some low intensity cardio for your heart health. But burpees really don't have much of a place for the vast majority of people. How this stuff started, I mean, there was sort of nonsense stuff back then as well, but I
Was it
think
more of like a marketing tool? Like they just wanted to sell more programs, thinking, okay, I just discovered this new thing where if you jump up and down, do a push up, and then jump up back and down again, and do that 100 times, you're going to shed 2 inches off your waist in 2 weeks.
I think what happened is coaches realized that it's not good coaching that necessarily drives more business. It's people feeling like they got a hard workout in. And so I'll never forget when I was a younger coach and I would hear people say, this is the sentence that people say all the time. In the same breath, they would say, "Oh, Mike, I have the best coach. Every time I work out with him, I want to throw up." That's the sentence that they say. And in my mind, I'm like, that's a non sequitur.
That doesn't seem
Why?
like fun. That just doesn't seem like fun.
Why? Throwing up is your body rejecting something. Throwing
Right.
up is a bad, like, no one in any other situation would say, "Oh, I'm so glad I threw up." Like,
Right.
that's how I know it's good for me. Like, it's not at all. And so if your coach is making you throw up or feel like you have to throw up, you've got a bad coach. It's not what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to feel better when you leave the gym than when you
Right.
went in. And I think what some marketers and coaches realized is, if we can find movements that just make people feel exhausted, then they'll think like that's good. And
Right.
so whatever they can do to make you feel exhausted, that's why, HIIT has become this huge thing.
Yeah.
It's because people feel like, oh my God, like I can feel like shit in a very brief period of time and jack my heart rate up, rather than doing this longer duration, lower intensity stuff that's not as difficult, but actually has so many health benefits. They're like, listen, get 20 minutes of HIIT. They say is 20 minutes of HIIT is going to be better than hours of other stuff. It's like,
Right,
you're out of your
right.
fucking mind. But
Right.
what they're really saying is they're feeding into the logical fallacy that people believe if you're sweating, your heart rate is cranked up, you must be burning fat and getting way better results.
Right. So like if you're walking out of the gym with your t-shirt completely soaked, out of
Yes,
breath, and like you said, throw up, then you got the best workout done and you got the best coach that told you that you
correct.
got it done. I mean, let's be honest, throwing up is not sustainable. You want to do
No.
that 5 days a week, honestly, and and go home and be like, I had a good workout, but now my insides are shit.
Oh my God, it's going to ruin, never mind all the other issues, but it's going to ruin your teeth. Yeah,
Right.
like real fucking issues with that.
Right.
Like, do you want to throw up that often?
No.
Like, that's not, do you want to
Right.
feel like the feeling of needing to throw up is the worst. Like,
Right.
it's awful. There's no reason you should be feeling like that when you work out at
Right.
all. If you're consistently getting there, your shit is broken.
Right. Like all of a sudden throwing up in the gym is fine and great, but then throwing up from a hangover, throwing up because you're sick because of the flu, that's
Right.
terrible. It's
Exactly.
the same thing. It's the same fucking thing.
Your body's rejecting something. Period. End
Right.
of story. It's
Right.
exactly right.
Right. So how do you go about coaching and teaching your clients then when it comes to exercise? Like what do you tell them when they come in and said, well, I saw this YouTuber do like these physio ball exercises, these burpees, these HIIT training, and then now you have to deprogram them kind of in a way, right? And say, okay, throw all that garbage out the window and let's start from zero again. So what's your approach? How do you kind of guide them through that?
Yeah, so it's changed over the years. When I was a younger, more arrogant coach, I would essentially just be like, that stuff's stupid. Don't fucking do that anymore. And then, of course, we would clash heads because
Right.
they've done it for for however many years, and I'm telling them that it's been a waste of time. And I realize if I'm actually going to help these people, I shouldn't be clashing with them. I need to work with them, not against them. So if I have a client that comes to me and they're like, hey, my last coach had me standing on a Bosu ball doing one arm overhead shake weight presses, like, I'm not going to be like, well, your last coach is a fucking idiot.
Right.
But I am going to be like, okay, that's awesome. I'm going to have you try something else. And if they're like, well, hey, I really want to do this stuff, I'd be like, listen, why did you hire me? Like, because I trust you. It's like, cool. So I need you to do what I say. And if you don't do what I say and you don't get the results that you want, then you can't be mad at me because
Right.
you're not doing my programming.
Right.
I was like, give my programming a shot. If you don't like it, fire me. We never have to work together again.
Right.
But if you're paying me because you trust me, follow my program 100%, give it a shot. And then 99.99999% of them would be like, wow, this is actually way better than I thought.
Right.
This is much better. And they stick with me and they prefer that. And they realize what they were doing before they realized on their own, it was dangerous. It was a waste of time and they weren't progressively overloading and they weren't getting the results they wanted because they were just doing stupid circus acts instead of actually getting stronger and lifting properly.
Right. And do you also get a lot of clients that come in and say, listen, I got a wedding in 6 weeks and I need that six pack, but they're 100 pounds, maybe overweight. You get a lot of people like that saying, okay, it's been 6 weeks. Where's my even 4-pack? I'll take a 4-pack at this point. You promised me this, or you promised me that, or these people promised me this. And it never happens because it's virtually impossible to get a 6-pack in 6 weeks unless you're starting with a 4-pack. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, and that's all about setting expectations. And so, I mean, if someone comes to me and says, hey, I want to work with you because I have a wedding in 6 weeks, I'll say, like, just so you know, like, you might look slightly different in 6 weeks. Like, there might be people who say, like, oh, like, have you lost a little bit of weight? You will not have a 6-pack. And I was like, if you think that you will, don't hire me because you won't. So, like, and it's funny because when I was a younger coach and just starting out with business, I used to be scared to do stuff like that because I thought it would scare them away. In reality, it makes them want to work with you more when you're that bluntly honest about it. And you're just like, listen, like, you spent 30 years walking into the forest. It's going to take you 30 years to walk back out. Like, you don't walk into the forest and walk out in a day. Like, it takes time. So if if you've been spending 30 years eating and acting like this, you think in 6 weeks, all of a sudden you're gonna have a 6-pack? Get the fuck out of here. Absolutely not.
Right.
Like, it's gonna take a lot of time. And I found people actually respect and appreciate that honesty.
Right. Because I mean, let's be honest. If there's a coach out there that promises that and gives that result in 6 weeks, he's got to be the richest man in the world. Not one person would not sign up for his program if that was a lock, right? But
I would sign up.
Everybody would sign up. I don't think
want to know what they're doing.
Right. It's only going to take me 6 weeks of hard work, and then I could just kind of chill with a 6-pack for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
absolutely not. That's not how it works. Right. Right. So that kind of drives me crazy too, because I was like that. I'm young and naive. I was like, you see the Men's Health magazine says 6-week abs for summer. Get ready before Memorial Day weekend. I actually bought those magazines. Like, hey, you do these crunches and you do this. I'm like, so I started doing them. I'm like, I'm not getting the results here. It's been 4 weeks. I don't even see a line down the middle.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know about nutrition. I didn't know about, dieting, eating properly, calories in, calories out. I thought crunches was the answer to getting a 6-pack. And it's complete opposite.
and you kill yourself in the gym for hours on end, and you don't really pay attention to nutrition. So then you're not seeing the results physically that you want. You're like, what the fuck is the point of all this if I'm not even seeing it? And you don't realize until, oh, it's because I'm eating like an idiot. And it's like, I could work out for hours on end and it's not going to really change much about my physique unless my nutrition matches.
Right. So let's talk about nutrition, because I love your content when it comes to nutrition. I think you speak the truth. I think like I said, you don't sugarcoat anything. You keep it very, very simple. Like, when you say, you know what, just drink a lot of water and go for a walk. Just start with that. And I actually started telling people that. I'm like, so how are you starting your journey? Oh, I'm doing this program. I'm like, have you tried walking? Just walk around the block. And then tomorrow do it 3 times. And tomorrow do it 4 times. Next week do it 6 times. And start from there. And then drink half a gallon of water the first day and a little bit more the next day. And start with that, with the baby steps. Because this is going to be a long journey. Let's be honest. This whole fitness journey is a long one. It's not an overnight type of thing. So what are some of the pitfalls that people fall into when it comes to diet plans, nutritional plans, and how to eat properly, what to eat, what not to eat? Like, because there's a lot of obviously disinformation out there when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Man, there's some of the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life out there. There's a guy out there, many people out there who are telling people not to eat fruit because they think the sugar.
I saw that. Yeah.
Like, are you out of your fucking mind?
Completely
Like,
absurd.
how many people do you know who got fat from eating fruit?
No one.
How many people do you know that were like, oh yeah, they're 50 pounds overweight, and they're like, oh yeah, it was really the blueberries that packed on those last 50. Get the fuck out of here.
Not even close.
Stop telling people not to eat fruit because of sugar. Relax. No one ever got fat from eating a watermelon or raspberries or strawberries or melon, cantaloupe. Shut the fuck up.
Right.
So no, the biggest thing is it's common sense. And I know that it's difficult when you have so many things being thrown at you. But the way it's funny, I have a fail proof way to figure out if what someone is saying is stupid or not. All right.
Okay.
If someone is unsure if a diet is smart or not, if a way of eating is smart or is not, just what I say is repeat what that person said very slowly out loud. And if it sounds stupid, it is. For example, someone says, don't eat fruit. The sugar is going to make you fat. So you're telling me that fruit is going to make me fat. Like that. You can't say that without realizing how stupid that sounds, right? It's like, so anytime someone says something like whatever it is, you can always just repeat it very slowly and figure out if it sounds stupid. So that's number one. In terms of weight loss, and I have to specify the difference between weight loss and health.
Okay.
There's a Venn diagram where weight loss and health overlap, where there is a lot of overlap, but there are two different entities, right? And there is overlap, but health and weight loss are not one and the same. So with that in mind, specifically when it comes to weight loss, the most important thing to remember is energy, total energy intake. How many calories are you eating? If your goal is to lose weight, you need to manage your energy intake, period, end of story. That's not all that matters. That's not all you need to focus on. There are other aspects that are important, but if you're eating too many calories, even if it's overall healthy, nutritious food, you will not lose weight, right? So that's number one. So making sure you're eating the right amount of calories. And then from there, making sure you're getting enough protein. So emphasizing, make sure your energy intake, protein is good. And from there, you can fill in the rest with whatever you want. As long as your calories and protein are good, you're fine. A lot of people freak out when I say this because they'll be like, wait, so you're telling me I can have as many carbs as I want as long as I hit my calories? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, well, they're like, that doesn't make sense. Carbs make you fat. I'm like, well, first of all, nothing will make you fat if you're not eating, if you're in a calorie deficit, right? If you're not eating the right amount of calories, like, and I even did a whole experiment on this. I ate one Big Mac a day every day for 30 days.
Oh, wow.
That's not all that I ate, but like it's on YouTube. It's called the Big Mac Challenge, where I saw Super Size Me, which was the most bullshit documentary I've ever watched in my life. Just terrible.
Yep.
And I was like, fuck this. I will eat one Big Mac every day. In addition to whatever else I'm eating, I'll add one Big Mac a day to my diet, and I'll lose weight. And over the course of those 30 days, I lost 7 pounds while eating a Big Mac a day every day. This is one of the big pieces of content that changed my career forever. People freaked out when I did that. They couldn't believe it. They're like, what the fuck? They're like, I thought McDonald's makes you fat. I thought carbs make you fat. Da, 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 da. I was like, no, not at all. It's because I'm keeping my energy, my calories in check. Now, I'm not saying that Big Macs are a healthy, nutritious food. I'm not saying you should make McDonald's your primary food source. Like, absolutely not. But what I am saying is you can incorporate your favorite foods into your diet on a regular basis in moderation and still lose weight. That's because what people run into issues when they start thinking, okay, time to lose weight, time to remove all of my favorite foods. How the fuck long do you think you can stick to something if you're not allowing yourself any of your favorite foods? If you think you failed as soon as you have a bad food or a treat, whatever it is. So I just want people to understand calories are the most important. And as long as you hit those, you can enjoy your favorite foods in moderation. It's fine. You can have some ice cream. You can have a slice of pizza at your daughter's birthday party. You can enjoy yourself in these family celebrations. Fuck it. On a random Wednesday night, you want to have a glass of wine and some ice cream? You can do that. In moderation. That shouldn't be the majority of your food. The majority of your food should be whole, minimally processed, nutrient dense foods, lots of fruits and vegetables and lean meats and proteins and fish and nuts and seeds and legumes and beans and lentils. All of those should be a lot of that stuff. But the fun stuff can also be there, and it should be there. In fact, research consistently shows that rigid dieters, the people who do not allow themselves to have any treats, are far less successful long-term than flexible dieters, the people who allow themselves to enjoy a little bit here and there. And ironically, the rigid dieters will look at the flexible dieters and say, oh, they can just eat whatever they want, whenever they want, and they can look how they look. It's like, well, you're only looking at them when they're eating the chocolate bar or when they're out enjoying themselves. You're not seeing what they're doing the 95% of the time. You just only see them occasionally now, and you think, oh, they could eat whatever they want. It's like, well, most of the time they're actually crushing it.
Right.
And occasionally they enjoy these moderation treats. So, but when you try and be so strict and rigid that you don't allow yourself to have it any time, like, what can you do that for a week or a month before you binge out and say, fuck this, I'm done with it. And of course you gain all the weight back and more.
Right. And that's the thing. I think the main reason to eat in moderation and to enjoy the foods that you always enjoyed as a kid, as a young adult, as an adult now, like a cupcake, like a slice of pizza, or whatever it is for your own sanity. Like I tried just eating clean, one ingredient foods clean until I couldn't. I'm like, I gotta have a cheeseburger. I gotta have a Big Mac. I gotta have these things, or I'm just gonna lose it. And then I'm just gonna say, fuck this. I'm gonna give up. I can't sustain it. If this is what it takes to be shredded or be big or and get swole, then I don't want any part of this.
100%.
Honestly, like I'll just figure it out along the way, and I'll just cut back here and there a little bit. But I want to have a Guinness here and there, or 6. But I don't do it every night anymore. But occasionally I'm meeting some friends and reminiscing. Yeah, you're gonna have a good time, but there's nothing wrong with that. And the next day, there's no guilt. There's a little hurting, but there's no guilt. So I think a lot of people are missing that part of it, where you have to feel good when doing anything in life, in my opinion, right?
100%.
Not just the fitness, not just your work, not just whatever, everything, family, whatever it is, enjoy it, but you can still achieve those goals without completely making yourself absolutely 100% miserable.
Yeah. And fitness is supposed to fit into your life. You're not supposed to fit your life into fitness.
Right.
It's not supposed to take over every waking moment. You're supposed to include fitness within your life. And we talk a lot about physical health. Lately, it's been great to see mental health making a bigger impact and reach. Are you a fight fan by chance, like UFC, mixed martial arts?
UFC and more boxing, believe it or not. But
Got
I'm follow it a little bit.
Love boxing. Love boxing.
Yeah, love boxing.
Man, the science of boxing, that's a whole fucking,
it's so technical, we couldn't even fathom.
God, it's amazing. Like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, don't get me started. I love that stuff. But
yeah,
recently this guy named Patty Pimblett, actually this past weekend in the UFC.
Yeah, Patty the Batty.
Patty the Batty. Yeah, he had a whole big talk about mental health and how it's super great to see that on such a huge stage, especially like there are amazing women fighters. Actually, some of the women fights I think are better than the men, but it's mainly a male dominated platform, especially the viewership. So to see a fighter talking about mental health and the importance of talking about it was really, really great.
Yeah, because he said that he lost a friend of his committed suicide like literally right before the weigh, and I'm like, Jesus, how do you live? How do you fight? How do you keep your mind sharp?
Never mind win the fight.
Right.
And a baby, actually, one of his a close friend's baby died as well, like a week before. Like it was just a really crazy time for him, and he broke down in the post-fight interview and was talking about mental health. And he's like, "Listen, I would rather like your friends would rather you cry on their shoulder than attend your funeral the next week, And to hear him talking about this in the public was amazing. And bringing it back to fitness, we talk so much about physical health, but so much of mental health is overlooked, especially when it comes to fitness. And a lot of people will look at someone who will never eat a bad food and they're like, God, you're so disciplined. That's amazing. And what I always say is, if someone is afraid to have a slice of pizza at their birthday party, that's not a healthy relationship with food. If someone never enjoys a treat because they're scared it's going to make them fat, that is not a good mental health relationship with food. This isn't just about physical. We have to talk about mental health too here.
Absolutely.
And if you're too scared to enjoy a cupcake at your daughter's birthday party, do you really think you have a healthy relationship with food? Like, not to mention the issues you're going to impose upon her by her seeing that you're never having any of these quote unquote bad foods and her seeing your relationship with food. But for yourself, do you actually think that that's healthy because you're so disciplined that you won't ever enjoy any of these foods? No, that's not healthy at all. Healthy is finding balance, and we all recognize this, but like sometimes it can be difficult when it's ourselves.
Right. I think the discipline comes where you have one cupcake, but you don't have 12.
Correct. That's exactly right. And a lot of people say, I'm glad you brought that up. People will say, they'll be like, well, I'm either going to have the entire pizza or no pizza, or I'm going to have all the cupcakes or no cupcakes. And the reason they don't understand why they're doing this, the reason they call themselves an all or nothing person like that is because they've labeled that food as bad. They look at that food as completely off limits. And as soon as they have one bite of that pizza or one bite of that cupcake, in their mind, they've said, I fucked up. Like
It's
I've
the
ruined my
guilt starts
progress.
overriding their mind, and
So they're like, fuck it. If I've already ruined my progress by having this one slice of pizza or this one cupcake, then screw it. I will have all of them because I know after today, I'm not going to allow myself to have them again. So I'll have it all right now. But if it's not off limits for you, then you can eat it in moderation. You could have one or two slices of pizza. You could have a cupcake and be fine because if you want it again the next day, it's there and it's not bad. You're not going to go over your calories from one fucking cupcake or one slice of pizza. But if you only do it when you consider yourself a failure, well, yeah, of course, now you're an all or nothing person.
Right. And that's the thing. I think when if you can control that moderation, I think you'll enjoy the pizza more. You'll enjoy that cupcake more because you're not doing it every day. You shouldn't be doing it every day.
Correct.
Honestly, right? But yeah, once a week, once every, a few times every 2 weeks, you're having, you indulge yourself a little bit. Not only does it keep your sanity, but it's like, wow, these cupcakes really do taste good. Now, if you have those every single day, it's a cupcake. It's normal. It's
correct.
Just, flour, eggs, butter, whatever it is. But when you have that red velvet cupcake once every 2 weeks, you're like, this is the best fucking cupcake I've ever had.
Yes.
And I can't wait for the next 2 weeks when I can have it again or whatever, like next occasion, next birthday party, you don't feel as guilty with it. And you appreciate it. It's the whole idea of, I think of, instead of living to eat, you eat to live. I mean, you don't eat to live, you live to eat. That's how I approached it. Like, I love food. I was in the restaurant business. I love cooking. I love trying different cuisines. But just because Indian food might have X amount of whatever, extra carbs, or, Thai food has this something different, oils, it's not going to make me stop eating them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why would it?
Yeah, it's so funny. Like I tell people this all the time. Like, I live to eat. Like, I love food. I love food.
Yep.
And it's so funny. Like, I love traveling. I love trying different cultures and different religions' foods. Like, it's one of my favorite things I do with my wife. We go out, we try different foods, try different culture foods. Like, it's so important. Food is such a part of religion and life and culture and celebration and nostalgia. Like, it's so much more than simply fuel. And I think one of the reasons people are like, but you're not fat. Like, how is that possible? It's like, well, because I can try one or two bites and experience it without needing to gorge myself the entire time. Someone like who I love, and may he rest in peace, is Anthony Bourdain, who is like, he is incredible. Like, what an amazing human. And he was from a physical perspective, like, clearly not mentally healthy, but from a physical, like, he wasn't huge. And why? Well, he had a healthy relationship with food. He could enjoy these foods in moderation. He could try them from all over the world, and he wasn't gorging himself. And he also, he also did jujitsu and he exercised a lot, but he was very, very good with moderation and still being able to try and experience these cultures without going overboard. And it's because nothing was off limits. When nothing is off limits, you don't need to binge on it anymore. You don't need to be the all or nothing person, because if you want it, it's there and it's fine. It's not bad.
And that's and I agree with you. I think it's meant to be tried. It's meant to be eaten.
Yes.
If someone's making it for you and it's good quality, it's fresh, it's meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be enjoyed with others, the people that you love, your friends, your family, your wife, your husband, whoever it is. Enjoy it. That's like, literally, food brings everybody to the table. Everybody's there for one reason only, to enjoy themselves, eating good food. It's Italian dinner, Korean dinner, whatever it is. You're enjoying. That's the focus. In the middle of the table is a nice spread of all the stuff that you love. And I'll tell you, the extra calories during Thanksgiving or whatever, it doesn't count. Those kind of holiday meals, they don't count towards the calorie tracking, or because I'm not going to restrict my diet on Thanksgiving.
Oh my
It's
God.
my favorite holiday. I'm going to double up, triple up plates, because that is worth it to me.
Yeah. And when you're 90 years old, you're not going to look back on Thanksgiving 2022 and say, oh shit, I really regret having that extra slice of pie. When you're 90 years old, you will look back and say, I can't believe that I brought my own fucking Tupperware. And I was like so strict and rigid that I couldn't enjoy the holidays with my family. Like, you'll regret not being able to enjoy it. It's like, always think about like when you're 90 years old, what are you going to be proud of? And like when I'm 90, I will be glad that I had that extra slice of pie, that I like enjoyed more, that all this, and I could have fun and laugh with my friends and family, that I wasn't just sitting there like eating like green beans out of a fucking Tupperware container.
Now, recently, not recently, but I think it was, I think if I've read correctly, 2015, you started this program called Inner Circle,
Yeah.
SF Inner Circle, right? Can you talk about a little about that? What does that entail? What does it include? Like, is it a nutrition and exercise plan combined? What is it?
Yeah. So basically, up until 2015, I had only done one-on-one coaching, and I loved it, and it's great. But through doing one-on-one coaching, number one, you're limited in how many people you can actually work with. Just like you're the level of service will go down if you work with too many people. So I didn't want my level of service to go down, and most people are priced out of one-on-one. Like one-on-one is inherently more expensive, and
Right.
most people in the world cannot afford that.
Mhm.
There are some people that can, and it's great, but I wanted to have something that was more accessible to everybody, where like if they couldn't necessarily work one-on-one with me, but they would have access to all of my information, and I could write these group programs for them for a much lower cost. So I created the Inner Circle, which is exactly that. So new training programs every month, 4 times a week, and a 3 times a week strength training program option with exercise video tutorials and a massive exercise video database. I hired an executive chef to create recipes for the Inner Circle every month. You got an app for it. We've got an online version. So we found that a lot of like the older members, they don't want to use an app. So we just have a website version for them.
Nice.
And the younger members, they do want to use an app. So we have an app version for them.
Nice.
And so, yeah, it's strength training, it's nutrition, it's recipes, it's a group community. Every year we have a members retreat, an annual members retreat that we have in Austin, Texas, if they want to
Cool.
come to that. So yeah, it's super fun. And it's just, it's grown a lot, and it's been a blessing to see and have people from all over the world. I mean, we've got people from the United States, from North America, South America. We got people from Singapore, from Malaysia, from Taiwan, from Egypt, from Israel, from China, like everywhere, from everywhere,
You
all
took
over
this
the
thing
world.
global. You took it global.
Global. It's amazing. It's really
That's
cool to
awesome.
see people from all over the world connecting with each other. And we have the retreat in Austin, Texas, but like people in Singapore, they're probably not going to come to Austin, Texas for the retreat. So they have like, they get together, like members in Singapore will all get together.
Cool.
They've never met before, but like through this community, they'll meet, which is like really, really fun.
That's awesome. Now, does this program, like, there's a lot of programs out there that I feel is absolute bullshit, where it's just a cookie cutter, where they just give, okay, well, here's a workout program. You want to gain strength or hypertrophy? Here's the workout program. This is what you eat. Call me in 6 weeks. Let me know what you think. Obviously, your training methods are not like that. Your program is probably not like that. How do you kind of adjust and make tweaks for each individual? Because obviously each individual is different in terms of body type or where they're starting from, their experience. How do you kind of adjust the program to their to suit them?
So this is always the challenge with a group coaching model, right? Where it's like altering it for the individual. That is the inherent challenge. With one-on-one, it's very easy. Someone's like, I can't do this exercise. Cool. We'll change it. We'll do this. Like I said, whatever it is. With the group coaching model, you need to both teach the people how to do it themselves. So give them the knowledge and tools to understand, okay, cool. Like my knee hurts doing forward lunges. I'm going to try reverse lunges instead. Oh, that feels much better. Right. Now that is, the person has to be ready, willing, and able to do that, to really get the most out of it. But that's really what I try and do within it, is teach them how to be their own coach and how to make these like, so for example, let's say I write in the program walking forward lunges, and that's going to be one of the exercises. I'll be like, if this bothers you, try any other lunge variation. And we have a drop down menu. So they could go to Bulgarian split squats. They could go to static squats. They could do reverse lunges. They could do lateral lunges. So here's a list of options for you to try that will also be good substitutions. So it's sort of giving them all of the other options if this exercise isn't good for you. If they don't have a certain piece of equipment, they could always post in the group or email me, and I'll answer and reply and tell them what to do. Or it's like, hey, if let's say, I write barbell back squat, you don't have a barbell, cool. You could do a goblet squat with a dumbbell, totally fine. You have all of these different variations. So we give them those options. Now, in terms of like, for example, the programming that I do, it's not for elite athletes. It's not for bodybuilders. It's for people who want to be healthier and people who want to get stronger and more mobile and flexible and just be healthier and live longer and be with their family. So that's how the program is written for, which means that I will often include heavy strength training in the beginning. In the middle, I'll do moderate strength training with always supersetted with some mobility stuff. And then at the end, a little bit more conditioning, just like very basic programming. But for example, like let's say I have a superset in there where they're going to do a superset of push-ups with a hamstring stretch, just as a random example. A lot of people, especially men, are very tight and they need more mobility. So they do a hamstring stretch. Whereas many women are often actually congenitally lax. They're almost too mobile. So for them, rather than doing the hamstring stretch, I'll have them do something like a glute bridge where they can get more stability, right? So you can individualize it that way, but it really is going to boil down to the individual taking responsibility for them to learn and do it on their own. But any questions they have, they email, they post in the group, and I do a live, actually literally right before this, every Monday, I do a 1 hour live Q&A with all the members. And every Friday, my co-coach, Susan Niebergall, she does one as well. So we're in there for a total of 8 hours a month between the two of us, answering live questions, doing Q&As like that. So there's a lot of opportunities to get coaching as well.
Right. So even though you have this large volume of clients, you could still somehow manage to almost personalize it to each individual by giving them
Correct.
alternative, exercises, or like you said, if this hurts this way, try this one. And if that doesn't work,
Correct.
try this one. And then if that doesn't work, we'll figure something out.
Yes.
But
And
there is a solution to that problem.
there's always a solution. It's not as direct as one-on-one coaching, because in one-on-one, it's like you email your coach, hey, this doesn't work. Cool. Here's that. That's so much easier to fix. But that's also like $300 a month versus $24.99 a month. So it's like, if
that's
you
true.
afford $300 a month, this is a really good option where you'll still get it. It might not be sort of like, the difference between taking Uber and taking the train.
Right.
Or taking the bus, right? It's like you're going to get there. The bus might take a little bit longer, but it's also way more affordable. And if you don't have that expendable income to spend on an Uber, then take the bus and you'll still get there. But like, it's going to take a little bit longer.
Right. Now, you recently got married last year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I think you went to Greece, right, for your honeymoon, if I remember correctly. Okay.
Yeah, it was a blast, man. That was amazing.
Yeah. How was the food there?
Oh, bro, have you been?
No, I've never been. That's
Oh
like
my
on the
God.
bucket list, like top 5 bucket list places of where I want to go.
The food was unbelievable. The wine was incredible.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't even a wine guy before. And
Right.
like Santorini made me become a wine guy.
Really?
Like, bro, that food and wine, and before, wine would always give me hangovers. Like, it would
Right.
always, I've been more of a tequila and vodka guy, just like as a cocktail. Like, I always feel fine with those. The next day, never have a hangover.
Right.
I do like beer. I love Guinness, you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Yep.
But wine, I never felt good. And then I don't know what it was about the wine there, but like, I felt amazing. I never
Just
got
hit you
a
different.
dude, it was so good. And so now I've just been getting more wines from that area, and it's been feeling great if I do drink it here. But the food was amazing. The weather was amazing. Granted, it was a vacation. It's not like we lived there. We were only there for 2 days, but like, could not recommend it enough. Like, one of the most amazing places I've ever been.
That's awesome. And then now, next month, August, you're expecting your first child?
Yes. Yeah.
Congratulations on that. Is it going to be a boy or a girl? Do you know, or is it a surprise?
Girl. It's going to be a girl.
Right.
Yeah. I'm super excited.
Nice. Now you have to make adjustments now, right? On your daily life schedule, because now you got another human being that you really got to take care for, who can't fend for herself yet.
That's right.
How are you already kind of tweaking your, like, thinking about your daily schedule or your lifestyle a little bit once the kid comes, or is it one of those where I'll just kind of, adjust as I go along?
Yeah, I think that's my personality, is we'll just go with the flow. Like, that's how I am with basically everything. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Like, so when she comes, and we'll see, because you never know. You have no idea what they're going to be like. You don't know if she's going to be a colicky baby, if she's going to sleep really well or sleep really shitty. You have no idea. We're doing everything we can to study now and to hopefully prepare for her and hopefully make it an easy transition. But I mean, it was funny. We've had a crazy last like 2 months, and my wife said yesterday, she was like, 1 more month of craziness, then it'll be good. And I was like, no, we've got like 25 more years of craziness, assuming like everything goes what we want. We want like 2 or 3 more kids. So we're signing up for like 25 more years of craziness, probably.
It's like, buckle up, get ready. It's gonna be a bumpy ride, but it's gonna be a fun one.
and hopefully it'll be worth it. And that's really, I've
Absolutely.
known I've always been a father. So,
Right.
so yeah, man. So I'll play it by ear and I'll adjust, you know, I'll be able to adjust. Like if I have to wake up earlier to get a workout in, I'll wake up earlier. If I
Right.
have to do a little bit later, I'll do a little bit later. But I was talking to a friend about this today, actually. And I'm in a very good position because I already have the health habits there. Like
Right.
I've developed them. It would be much harder if I was starting from a place of, hey, I'm having a kid and I have no health habits in check. Like I don't have my workouts in check. I don't have my nutrition in check. I've already got those skills. So yes, it will be harder, no question about it.
Of course.
But it will be much easier than if I was starting from complete scratch.
Right. Because you're really, you already kind of took care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So it's
Now you just got to, maintain, but you just now take care of another human being.
Exactly. And there's this woman we live in an apartment building. Man, there's this woman who's in the gym like every day.
Right.
And she has a brand new baby, her and her husband, and she's on the elliptical every day. And she's wearing like one of those things that carries the baby in front of her.
Oh, yeah.
And she's there for like 30 or 45 minutes. The baby is he's loving it. He's wild. He's looking around the gym and there are dudes slamming weights in there and he doesn't care, but she gets it in every single day. And I love that. Like, this is harder. Obviously, she probably would rather not have a human hanging off of her chest while she does this, but she's still getting it in.
Right.
Like, she probably isn't going as intensely as she would have if she like didn't have a human, but she's still putting it in. Like,
She's doing something.
That's it. That's it. Still, and you can always do something, no matter what.
And like you said, you could go for a walk too. You could carry that baby if you don't want to go on elliptical. Go for a walk with that kid. Put her in a stroller. Push the stroller around for a mile or so. Right? It's that simple.
That's exactly. Like, I'm not trying to be an elite lifter. I'm not trying to be an elite athlete.
Of course not.
Like, healthy for my kid.
Exactly.
Like, I don't care if I've got a little bit teeny bit extra body fat. But like, I don't care. I just want to be healthy. You know, like that's it.
And you want to live long enough to walk your little girl down the aisle one day.
Yes,
exactly. And see your grandkids one day. And
correct.
Not be in a wheelchair, not have this oxygen tank stuck to you because you're 60 years old, you're 200 pounds overweight. Correct. I mean, let's be honest.
Exactly. Yeah, I want to be able to do jujitsu with my grandkids. You know, exactly. like it's exactly right.
Exactly. One final question: your favorite exercise and your favorite meal.
Oh man, favorite exercise for me personally, or for like what I think is like the best
for you personally, like what you like to, or a body part that you like to work out specifically more. Like for me, for example, it's arms. I love arms. I love doing arm day. I'm all about the guns, right? I do everything else, but the arms Thursdays are arm day. It's my favorite day of the week.
You just wake up like, yeah.
Oh my God, it's gun day. It's gun day today, baby. Let's go.
My favorite is deadlifts. Like deadlifts is my absolute favorite. Like I love it.
Those are fun.
It's just fun, man. It's like
so fun.
How much it doesn't lie, right? It's like it's so simple in nature. It's like, how much weight can you pick up? Period.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I love that. I love that.
It's a rush when you could somehow put 225 on there and lift it up like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then you put a little bit more on there the following week and a little bit more. And then like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, it's deadlifts. Favorite meal, pizza. Like if I could only have one meal for a pizza, man, like I love.
Can't go wrong. I love pizza too.
Pizza. Yeah.
Yep. It's once a week for me too. I have to eat pizza once a week minimum.
Yeah. It's my wife and I just had it the other night. We get every weekend we'll get pizza. Yeah.
That's awesome.
One night we get pizza. Yeah.
That's awesome. Where can people find you? Because I think people should start following you if they're not already. Like I said, you spit out facts, you make it simple, you don't overcomplicate things, you don't make it overwhelming either for new beginners to start out and or lost or are coming from a trainer that kind of screwed them over or gave them disinformation. And I think what you say and how you preach it and then what you do in terms of backing up your words with your actions obviously shows a lot, and it's working. I mean, you look at you're in shape, you're fit.
Thank you.
Where can people find you and maybe get the coaching from you?
Yeah, so I just want to say first and foremost, you're an amazing host. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you
so much. I'll come back on anytime. You're great.
Awesome.
If people want to find me, you can Google my name, Jordan Syatt, Syatt, and I'm on Instagram, YouTube, podcast. I have all that stuff. So, but you're great, man. You're fantastic. It's been a pleasure getting to meet you, and I hope we can get a Guinness one day in person. I love Guinness.
Where in Texas are you? Austin, you said?
Dallas. I live in Dallas.
Okay. Next time in Dallas, I'll look. I'm in Philly.
I love Philly. What a great city.
So if you're ever this way, let me know. If I'm ever down that way, I'll definitely let you know, and we'll definitely have a pint.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
See you, brother.
All right, man.